one of the things we want to do here is start to conduct a systems analysis on a system. So the example we're going to use is a containerized cargo system where we want to move cargo around the world. So I want to illustrate just very, very quickly here how you can scope a system and decide what its basic mission is by using a basic stock and flow model mentality as you work your way out. So proceeding on that basis, here's the basic overview of the business requirements for the system we want to engineer. We have a series of locations, call them customer locations, call them workplaces, call them any kind of place that might want to send cargo around the world. And a location has cargo that they want to either send or receive. So we're interested in designing a system for containerized cargo that will move cargo among locations all over the world as we see fit. So to do that, we can think of it as a stock and flow kind of scenario. So location can be a stock of cargo. And the question is, what has to happen to that cargo? So from a stock and flow standpoint, our system is going to allow locations to ship cargo. So the output of our location stock is the shipped cargo. On another basis, we could view the location as the destination point for consigned cargo. So again, in stock and flow mentality, you've got these clouds just indicate that for our purposes in discussion, we're not concerned right now with what's going on outside of the location. But we see a location could either be shipping cargo or they could be the location that is the destination of consigned cargo. Now those might be two very separate operations as we go through, but because they both involve locations as the stock, we tend to combine them into one stock and flow diagram for the purposes of discussion and for system design. Just keep in mind that the location is a stock that outputs cargo and inputs cargo, but the shipped cargo coming out is not necessarily the exact consigned cargo that went in. Sometimes it will be. If the location is a warehouse, for the most part, the stuff that gets consigned into storage in a warehouse eventually comes out in pretty much the same form. But it could just as easily be a manufacturing location where all the consigned cargo going in are raw materials and all the shipped cargo coming out are finished goods. So even though we combine this into one stock and flow diagram, keep in mind that location could be a very active systemic place where the cargo undergoes significant transformation before it comes out versus a straight warehouse where what goes in also comes out. So it all depends upon the complexity of the locations that you're dealing with as you see your way through. So basically what we can do is think of our system as managing a stock and a flow. If we're going to do containerized cargo management as our system, the basic business requirements involve thinking of the location as the stock. So it's a stock of cargo that we have more or less of. Remember, that's our definition of a stock, is something we could have more or less of within the stock. So cargo is the thing we're interested in here. And then there's the thing that flows in and out of that stock. So in this case, it's the cargo in this particular example. So that's what our stakeholders care about. That's the customer's view of what's going on in the system we want to be able to talk about. So from a stock and flow standpoint, I could talk about what do I know at this stock customer viewpoint of what's going on here. So I could be talking in terms of the capacity for unloading and loading cargo at the given locations, whether they have loading docks or staging areas or rail sidings, the frequency of their shipping and receiving. Are they a 24/7 shop? Do they, what is their volume based in terms of what's going on? I've got very high volume locations that might ship and receive a lot of material and have service contracts for doing that. I might have some locations that rarely interact with my system. Perhaps they only receive consignments from us and they would never ship anything with us. So I've got all kinds of different kinds of locations that my system will have to be able to handle. And I've got size and weight and temperature requirements for the cargo. I've got the cargo commodities and their classifications, so what is being shipped. Some cargo is hazardous material. Some of it we need export licensing depending upon where it's going and its locations. As well as if I'm going to implement my systems for cargo management in a company, I need to know from my customer locations what kind of information technology integration capability they have. Will I be able to integrate their logistics system into my system as I move forward? So these are all different kinds of requirements at the customer level, not my internal system requirements, my basic business requirements at the customer level for what my customers might be looking for. So if I'm going to build a containerized cargo management system, I had better understand what the system needs to be able to do from the standpoint of my customer. So these aren't the requirements per se. I'd have to go out now and research the requirements, but I know something about what kind of requirements I should be looking for just as a result of analyzing the problem as a stock and flow problem.